welcome back to the channel. This is your January 2024 soul story. If you have a sun rising or your moon is in the sign, this might resonate for the month ahead. It's Romy. Thank you so much for taking the time to join me. So we're opening up your month with the Queen of Wands. Libra, this month you must do the thing that you think you cannot do. And yes, I feel there's some apprehension, but there's also such a readiness on your part to initiate something. And you may have held back for a variety of different reasons. And I certainly feel like, one or more of those reasons may be to do with a specific person or energy. But this is really a month where it's going to be in your time, in your own way, and on your own terms. And I think it's kind of like we start as we mean to go on. Mercury stations direct in Sagittarius on the 2nd of the month. And so we just feel a little bit clearer in our thinking. It also helps us to have a conversation. And I feel like you might be revisiting a conversation that took place over the holidays. You may have even advised, like, this is what I'm going to do. This is what's happening. This is the direction that I'm heading. And that might have been met with, a variety of different responses. But I think we have that conversation again, and there's more clarity, but there's more strength of vision from you as well with the Queen of Wands, because it matters. It matters to you. It's personal. And, this is an experience where you're moving from feeling like you're chasing something, which is often so exhausting and depleting, to really kind of being able to align with it and let it in, but still be incredibly purposeful, because you see the possibilities sort of up out ahead of you. And yes, that might not be something that can materialize and manifest in January. I don't think it's supposed to, but I certainly feel like what you do this month really matters. Mars will station in Capricorn on the 4th of the month, and this is going to be really supportive because it brings about a realistic, very directed feeling. And we ask those important questions, why are we doing this? Why does it matter? And, you may be, on the receiving end of people kind of throwing those at you, but you know what? You're going to have like an absolutely powerful response each and every time, because this isn't just something that you've considered on a whim. Like, this is something that's much more well thought through, and something that's been burning away within you for some time. And so we do need to inhale the trust and we need to exhale the need for validation as we make our way forward in this month of January. So Mars and Capricorn just kind of tempering perhaps some of the more impulsive, rash feelings that can come alongside things when we're trying to, take some action. And also make us be very transparent, about what we're doing. And this is not like a covert assignment, you're just being really clear with yourself and people around you. This is what I want and this is what's happening. And so that Ace of Swords just helps us to kind of cut through any confusion. And the thing to remember, I feel, for you in January, especially Libra, is like, when you understand yourself and your motives really clearly, then their misunderstandings, they can't influence or infiltrate your reality in the same way, because you're so aligned to that inner truth. And that's what that's really showing me. So as we make our way towards the new moon in Capricorn coming in on the 11th, 20 degrees, we have this kind of reset, and we have this really powerful platform. And it's about what you're committing to and what you're devoting to. Now, regardless of how you like to approach the new year with your intentions, your goal setting, this will feel like an energy that you want to do something with. You want to harness it. And, Neptune and Uranus are also involved with this moon, meaning we're doing things from a place of seeking freedom. We might cause a few shocks. There may be some surprises that come our way that, mean there's a few twists and turns that we have to navigate. But we're also kind of having quite a powerful spiritual experience as we reflect and consider around things. And so as you pay heed to that inner voice, which has got louder and louder, then, what we're looking at here is that you are seeking to become this vibrational match with what it is that's like coursing through your veins and ignited within you. And you're also then looking for things that will match you in terms of that effort, that passion, that belief, that faith, that exuberance, that energy. And so, if seeking that vibrational match involves other people, you're also quite, I just feel like you're really clear this month. It's kind of like, well, are you in or are you out? Because if their heart isn't in it, there's nothing that you can do right now. This is not about trying to negotiate your way into somebody's heart. This is about you really directing your energy where it needs to be. And like I said, no more chasing. And, perhaps for some of you, that's also going to open up a bigger Pandora's box around, is this love or is this some form of attachment that's so powerful that feels like love? And I really need to kind of explore that in a much more deep and meaningful way this month. High Priestess, you see, you just know what's right for you. You know what's right for you. And at any and all junctures through the course of January, we need to keep returning to that, because I feel like, yes, there's distractions, and yes, there's people who, can't wrap their head around what you're saying and perhaps why you're saying it. But you know what? Like, your peace is sometimes more important than trying to prove your point. So I feel like, yes, we have a time where we can have those clarifying conversations early on in the month. But if people are repeatedly choosing to misunderstand, we don't have to repeatedly keep going back to justify. There's a moment that comes where we're just like, enough, I've said what I've said. Like, now I need to move forward. And, this is how I see you kind of moving through this month. Now, let's be aware that Juno, asteroid goddess, is going to go retrograde in Virgo right around that new moon. She's been in the sign since October and will be till August. But this retrograde is going to carry through till April 21st. So Juno rules commitment, agreements, partnerships, professional, romantic marriages. So anywhere where there is some form of contract or agreement in place, we're reviewing. And we're doing it in a way that we're, in Virgo, perhaps picking some holes or becoming very clear about things that are not working or we're dissatisfied with. And in order for us to be able to recommit or to continue something, or to renew something, because remember, it'll come across in all themes, so this could be something more work related or even a contract or a legal kind of agreement that you're signed up to. So we need to pay attention to what's coming up around that moon. And with Uranus, it could be a little bit of a surprise as well. You're like, oh, well, that's not what I thought was going to happen at this point. So it's not heralding like a time to have breakups. It's heralding an opportunity to kind of have a discussion and a negotiation that says, okay, like, this is no longer working. So what are we going to do about it? Or how do we improve upon this? Or what do I need to feel a greater degree of freedom, flexibility, fluidity, and just general satisfaction in regards to this? So remember, this will be working through till April. So again, it might be that you don't have immediate answers. The solutions are not necessarily showing themselves in January, but the fact that they get brought up into the light to be realistically considered and understood and acknowledged is really what you want to be seeing in and around that time, okay? And I think for some of you, it may be a feeling like, oh, I'm having to kind of go back over old ground and I thought I'd healed and moved on from this. And sometimes we have to heal from something more than once. Sometimes it feels like it's over and over again. But each time we do, it's like a new window appears that kind of helps us to access light in our understanding and how we're growing from that experience. And the Ten of Cups is really telling me that, this is an experience that almost forms a glue or kind of holds together something that is quite sacred to you. So the types of agreements that you're reviewing, whether they're family connected, relationship connected, whether it represents your sense of safety, your sense of happiness, like, you know, it will feel like this is important, like this does need to be addressed. And, you know, in that process, we're continuously like meeting ourselves, aren't we? Over and over again. And so, again, I repeat this phrase because they're bringing it back through. This month, you must do the thing that you think you cannot do, which might mean standing your ground, or, you know, saying that something is no longer acceptable, exercising a boundary, or, you know, just something that perhaps just feels a bit more uncomfortable because you know what's at stake and you know what could feel like it's going to cause some fracture lines or some disruption. But ultimately, if you don't address it and it continues on in a specific way, you know yourself that that isn't going to serve you. And in all honesty, it feels like, you know, at some point Spirit would come in and kind of shake things up to the degree that it would become a disruptive experience anyway. So we're almost doing something preventative in January, I feel. So as we make our way towards Aquarius season, and the sun shifts into the sign on the 20th, we've got Pluto, of course, making its move back into Aquarius. It had dipped into the sign last year. One final cycle for Capricorn from September through November. But really, firmly and fully, we're kind of now experiencing what this new cosmic conversation means to us. And, you know, it's 5th house energy when we look at Aquarius for you. So some of the ways in which this is going to be activating you, you know, is going to be on, you know, what pulls on the heartstrings. You know, your romantic relationships connected into your children, the next generation of children, because you'll see a lot of like collective energy coming through, your creative and, you know, endeavors. And so it's almost like pay attention to the type of things that are on your mind or perhaps being illuminated and cast up around that point in January, because it's giving you a clear marker of, you know, these are things that I'm going to be exploring much more deeply over the next few years. Now, the Lovers comes through and again talks to me about this desire to want to have a vibrational match, and that match being something that is truly echoing a reciprocal effort and source of nourishment for you. And again, you know, not necessarily a person, but it may be for some of you, but really about this understanding that, you know, if I'm going to devote my time and energy to this, I need to know what I get back from that. And if that's just a deep sense of satisfaction because you love to do it, or if it's about seeing some real measurable progress or changes in you and your life, but the clear intentionality of sort of walking into something with your eyes wide open is really important. Because one of the things I notice here is that, you know, with both the 10 of Cups and the Lovers, the eyes are closed. So, you know, along with the High Priestess, that does tell us the answers are going to be within us. But at the same time, I also think there's a danger of just knowing that something isn't quite right, or that there's an aspect or a component to something that you know feels off, and just kind of blindly like rushing in or just like moving forward because you just like, well, it feels good, and, you know, it's an experience, and I'm just gonna give myself the chance to kind of go see and go explore, which is absolutely fine. Every experience is a sacred one, and there isn't a right or wrong. But I do have a sense like if you know, it's almost like that adage, love is blind, but, you know, it kind of trickles out in more than just like a relationship romantic sense for some of you. You know, it's also about like, let's just be really real here. And that's what Capricorn energy and this host of planets in the sign through the month of January is trying to say to you. Like, come on, is this something that's going to help us really develop our personal power? Remember, we're in a numerology 8 year in 2024. So it is about reward and achievement and gain, but that comes from being specific and realistic. And, you know, when we can sort of have our eyes wide open and we know what we're getting into, we know what we're committing to, then it's very different. It's not that we're afraid of what it's going to take. It's just that, you know, we're fully anticipating that this isn't, you know, all sweetness and light, that there is aspects of this that will test me and challenge me and help me to grow in a number of different ways, but I will prosper through my determination, my depth of awareness around this. And if we know that ahead of time, then we're fully prepared, mind, body, and soul. So that's something I just want to call out for you. That said, these are some really beautiful harmonious energies coming in for some of you, particularly when early on in the month you've been able to kind of really articulate your needs, wants and desires and done it in a really truthful, transparent way. I actually think it really serves you, and it can really bring about a new level of understanding and empathy and just a willingness to kind of meet you where you are. So that could be quite a surprise in some ways, a pleasant one, and one again that helps to bring about a closer union or a deeper degree of intimacy. There's certainly a very intimate feeling that's kind of coming through with these guides for you in the month of January. And again, for some of you, that intimate experience doesn't necessarily have to be with another person. It can be the intimate experience you have with yourself, or something that truly lights you up, brings you joy, makes you happy, feels like that fulfilling vibrational match. Okay, so we're moving, as we make our way toward the end of the month, to Venus shifting into Capricorn on the 23rd. Again, this is wanting us to devote and to commit, and doing it in a way that can be quite powerful, actually. You see a lot of power couples sort of emerging around that period of time, and also just knowing what it's going to take, and surely having a plan, like having a powerful plan of like, this is what we want, this is where we're going. And even in your own sense of value, it puts you in a strong negotiating position as well, which is wonderful for anything that you do need to address through the month of January. Again, I see you kind of knowing and feeling strong, impassioned, and actually just coming across really well. So our King of Wands is coming through, and we've got this full moon in Leo arriving on the 25th at 5 degrees. And Jupiter is kind of like amping the energy up as if we needed it for a Leo full moon, right? So the kind of potential for some drama and certainly some attention seeking is kind of highlighted and exaggerated and amplified. But there is this very loud, proud feeling. It's deeply expressive. It's very passionate. It helps us to give the performance of our lives. So if there's something that you need to say, to do, to be recognized, to be seen, this is the time. If you're struggling to get your emotions out, they may just tumble out around this particular full moon. Your King of Wands sort of brings in a powerful visionary quality for you, and also the ability, again, along with the High Priestess, to fully trust in your instincts and the thing that you see, you know, because you've been given that sort of vision, that premonition, that knowing, that belief for a reason. And there's something about what this full moon in Leo does for you that kind of really speaks from the heart, and it's almost the thing that will carry you forward. I think it will be quite a defining moment. So almost as you make your way deeper into the year, you'll always look back at that sort of period toward the end of January and be like, well, you know, I put my heart on the line. I said it. I believed in it. I saw it. I expressed it, and it will be something that you keep kind of drawing back to and kind of gathering strength from as well. You may have this King of Wands character showing up for you around this time as well. Also being a catalyst for the exploration of this vibrational match energy, of you exploring desire. Because remember, in 5th house, which Aquarius season is for you, we're exploring that deeper relationship to pleasure and desire. So whether they represent that in something that they offer, the conversations, discussions, the energy that they bring to the table, but there's just something here that gets sort of initiated within you and kind of sets you off on like a really interesting journey within yourself, of course, perhaps with this individual in some capacity. But more than that, I just feel like this is about you really getting clear in terms of understanding yourself. And of course, Uranus stations direct on the 27th. So the progress also requires somewhat of a bold action. Again, that King of Wands is kind of encouraging you and pushing you and sort of, you know, you can do this, why would you not? And, you know, so there's a bit of kind of goading energy going on there, which again, you know, sort of tracks back into this month, you've got to do the thing you think you can't do. So it's like all signs and all energies are sort of lined up and gearing up towards that. But remember, you know, with Uranus stationing direct, there's some sort of disruption to our energy field right under that full moon. So again, the sort of the surprises, the behaviour that might feel a bit surprising, like you may act out in a way that you hadn't sort of believed or thought that you would, or you might see that from other people. And that can be a little bit destabilizing, shall we say. You know, we have a moment where we have to kind of just process. And I even feel like almost like a slight bit of panic. And the panic is only coming from either that you think, what have I just done? Or, oh my goodness, like, what have they just done? So there's a little bit of that going on. But I do feel that, you know, a few days and it will give you time to kind of process and just allow that to sort of settle fully as you sort of find that new rhythm with Uranus moving direct. And perhaps you will realise that the significance and the importance of having like a really bold action taken around that full moon is really the only way forward. So if you're new to the channel, Libra, our last 3 cards we cover in the extended version of the reading. You can find the link in the comment and description box underneath. We talk for another 30 minutes or so. We'll also look at a relationship and a personal question for you. So it helps me to keep showing up on the channel when you support and invest. So if it's resonating, please do join me. We're going to go ahead and just pull some clarifiers here and see what wants to come through for this extended reading we're going to be doing. King of Swords. Knight of Swords, Page of Swords, Ten of Swords. That's a lot of swords coming in, Libra. Air energy though, and that's something that can work well for you. And again, just helping you to kind of get that point across. Chariot and the 3. 5 of Swords, Strength. Beautiful, Sun. And the 8 of Wands, lovely. King of Wands coming in with the 7 of Cups. The Magician, beautiful. All the decks I use are always listed below for your reference. Okay, let's have a look at some oracles now. So this is my own deck, Life Soul Vision, which you can see over on my website, along with my other sacred titles and all the offerings that I do to support you on your soul journey. We have here, we've got the full moon, soulful surrender, the guide and the gift, lovely. Maverick of the light, dancer of the shadows, the collective heart. Definitely this feeling around you kind of having to revisit something that you felt you'd healed from, and you know, it's not that you haven't. I just think there's maybe another layer we're going into. Okay, let's have a look at the energy oracles. We have adjacent possibilities. And finally, from the Crow Oracle for Libra, January 2024. Oh, I actually pulled 2, so I'm just going to give you them both. Anticipation and balance. Okay, Libra, thank you so much for joining me. I wish you well for this month of January. Take care of yourself. I'll see you again next time, and I hope you'll join me for the extended. Bye for now.